Well, thank you for your time and your effort of being here.
It's a great pleasure for me to be here with us.
You have collaborated with many renowned musicians such as Martha Argerich, Stefan Isserlis, Fabio Luigi. How do these collaborations influence your interpretation and your choices of repertoire?
For me, as the collaborations you have mentioned, each one of those brought something that I really cherish, something special. Because I believe that we learn immensely from our colleagues, especially, of course, from those we admire, but also sometimes from personalities which are very different than ours. Also, you can learn because they can have a different vision that may be perhaps a bit strange to yours, but it makes you think again the music. It makes you put yourself into question again. So I find it fascinating, really. Of course, well, with Martha Argerich or with Fabio Luisi, now with Maestro Iván Fischer, is my first time playing, and I'm really thrilled because he's such a great musician. And well, with this wonderful orchestra of the Concertgebouw is such a treat.
Okay, thank you. Have you ever dreamed of being a pianist, a big pianist as you are now, when you were a little boy?
Yeah, I always dreamed of that.
It was a wish.
I remember when I was 6, I was already inviting my neighbors for an imaginary concert that only in my mind could take place.
And what did Maria Tipo say to you in this wish?
And so, yeah, when I went to her, I was 18 years old. And yeah, I thought that I would make what I'm doing today, yes. She had the greatest hopes that I could make it, as we say.
Well, she was right. Thank you for her view on you. We heard the second piano concerto of Prokofiev. This piece is known for its technical challenges and emotional depth. What are your thoughts on this concerto and how do you approach its performance?
So it's a piece of tremendous technical challenges. Sometimes when you hear it and it is well played, you have the impression that it is not just 2 hands, but 4 hands that are at work. Such is the texture. The texture is really very thick, and it creates massive sounds from the piano, like an orchestra at times. And the piece is at the same time very dark, very gloomy, because Prokofiev composed it in memory of one of his great friends who had just suicide. Yeah. So there is this mood, at times very reflective, very dark, together with the brilliance. It is of a great complexity in mood. Yeah, because at sometimes it sounds really acrobatic, but never for the sake of being difficult. The technical difficulty conveys an expression, really, all the time. There is never something that is just to be difficult or to create music that is hard to play. No.
Can you describe how it is to play with so many different orchestras worldwide? What do you need as pianists to collaborate with them? You have your ideas, they have their ideas, and how do you put them together?
I would say that if I answer literally to your question, you never know what is needed.
No.
Because this is something that a real collaboration that is musically worthwhile happens in the moment, and sometimes without too much discussion. If you need to discuss too many things, maybe it's there is not such an agreement between you and your partner in music. And at the same time, some things need to be discussed because we are working together. So it's a very delicate balance, I would say, and something that happens from the beginning, mostly, from the first rehearsal, or it's difficult to make it happen. You know, you cannot provoke it, I would say. It's something that is beyond, you know, what you can try or not. So when I go to an orchestra rehearsal, I would say that my attitude is to be, I try at least, not always I succeed, to be free in my mind, in my spirit, so that I can welcome some new idea, a different tempo than I was used to. And I see whether I can integrate it to my view or not. Yeah, but you have to be open. You cannot go to an orchestra rehearsal saying, well, like the pianist that goes and says, well, that's the way I see it and I want to play it that way.
No.
I don't see it.
It's
not for me.
It's a kind of a risk, actually.
Always, because that's what makes it at the same time fascinating, challenging, and worthwhile, I think.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah. Well, in this context, what do you think are the most striking qualities of the Concertgebouw Orchestra?
Well, many, really very many.
Okay.
But especially, I would say, its sound is such a wonderful sound in every section. And the way it harmonizes between them is really so stunning. And of course, when you play a concerto and you have such a support from a wonderful orchestra like Concertgebouw, it's such a rewarding experience that is, then you start thinking, well, to play a concerto is the most beautiful thing that can happen to you because of that.
Do they know it?
Oh.
Have you told them? You told us already that this was the first time you worked with Iván Fischer.
Yes.
And how did that go?
Well, it went, I mean, so easily because he's such a great musician and has a pair of ears that are incredible. And so you can feel free to do whatever, and you know that he's there with you, and not only with you, but making music at such a level that it really is so inspiring.
Yeah. In what way is the second piano concerto of Prokofiev difficult? Even the highly skilled Martha Argerich, this is a question from the public, even the highly skilled Martha Argerich does not dare to play it. Although she has no fear for the other dangerous concert, the third of Rachmaninoff.
Mm-hmm.
What makes it? What especially makes it difficult? Not only the technique, but
well, technically it's very complicated because for example, the scherzo, the second movement. I don't know, but you might have realized that the pianist and the orchestra are playing all the time at high speed, and you don't have 1 second to relax or to rest. And the slightest concentration shift could lead you to a disaster. I mean, not to be together with the orchestra. And the movement is short, but it's like a perpetuum mobile. So it's very challenging. And I think that if you don't learn it when you are really young, then you start to have second thoughts about that. So that might be the reason.
yeah.
But I'm not sure, you know. But well, I started to play this concerto when I was still relatively, you know, in an early stage.
Yeah.
So you are sort of less. You know that it is a monster, but you
But it's
you
also,
have still more courage. I
it
mean.
is a familiar monster. You can live with it.
And
Yes.
I mean, it's always a preference. That's a question where affinity towards a piece intervenes. Of course, someone like Martha can play everything on the piano.
Yeah.
And she could do this second concerto upside down.
But
If
she
wanted.
doesn't.
No, but maybe it's a kind of affinity with the piece that she doesn't feel. I don't know it.
Oh, no. Technically she could, but
Of course.
emotionally is
Of
something
course, she
different.
could. She can do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there teachers for you still? Or are there teachers for you? Or are you on a level that makes you working on your own?
No, I work on my own since a long time. I think that the best teachers for every pianist is to hear the great pianists of the past and their recordings. That thankfully they are all available to us in multiple ways. And I never get tired to hear a Cortot, a Rubinstein, or Rachmaninoff, or Horowitz, or many other pianists, and it's always the best lesson you can have.
So
Because each of them were so individual. They had a sound that was recognizable from the very first notes. And that's something that happens very rarely today. I'm totally honest.
and is that also your goal, to have your complete own language in music?
Yeah, I think it's the goal of every musician.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I think we heard it all. Misschien zijn er nog vragen uit de zaal. Ik weet niet. Ja, ik kom even naar u toe. Blijf gerust zitten. Uw naam is?
Robert van Es.
En
A few months ago, I went to a concert by Maria Joao Perez in London. And to my big surprise, she was playing on a Yamaha piano. After the concert, I asked her, what is the reason you were playing on a Yamaha piano? She said, well, I did play Mozart, and it's more chamber music, and it sounds better on the Yamaha piano. My question is, can you understand her choice, and have you yourself ever made a choice like that?
Yeah, I understand her choice because, for instance, if we think of another great pianist like Richter, he preferred Yamaha for the last part of his entire career, so it means many, many years. So, of course, every pianist identifies himself or herself with a type of sound. And probably the sound that Pires wanted for Mozart was, the Yamaha was more responsive to that type of sound that she had in her ears. So some Yamaha pianos are excellent, by the way. Yeah. I have also played in concerts. Yeah.
just one more question. Over here. I'll be there. Kan ik hier langs? Ja, mevrouw. Uw naam is?
Catharina, what is your favorite composer?
I don't have one. Because, again, if I would think it could be Bach, and it certainly could be Bach. What about Beethoven? What about Mozart and Chopin and Debussy, where I adore Debussy and Ravel? So, and I also am a great fan of Janacek and Rachmaninoff. So, fortunately, we don't need to choose. Yes.
And are you going to record some Argentinian composers?
Maybe one day.
Yeah.
I don't play a great amount of our national composers, but of course, I'm acquainted with the music, yes.
So you have the soul for it. So
Well, I do hope.
Yeah. I hope so too. I think so. Okay, thank you very,
Thank
very
you.
much for your time and being here with us. En u ook allemaal heel hartelijk bedankt voor de aanwezigheid hier. En zie u graag de volgende keer weer. Nelson Goerner.